Man, I don't even know where to start today's video. I guess all I can really say is I'm disappointed but not surprised. Honestly, this is one of the biggest issues plaguing modern gaming at the moment, and that is, of course, the just terrible optimization. Even the best games nowadays are constantly hurt by performance issues. Space Marine 2, Dragon's Dogma 2, Shadow of the Erdtree. I thought all three games were incredible, but all three games were hurt by performance issues, and now you can add Monster Hunter Wilds to that list. Honestly, the bad optimization with modern gaming is one of the main reasons I decided to go retro. Cause I don't get it, man. I do not get how the optimization in this game is so dog shit. I mean, you're watching me play right now with a GPU the price of a PlayStation 5 alone, with the best processor money can buy, and 32 gigs of RAM. This CPU is literally so powerful that it's unstable and crashes all the time. I have double the recommended RAM for this game and a 4070 where this game recommends a 4060. I am playing on the lowest settings and I cannot get 60 FPS without an upscaler. Well, I can't hold 60 FPS, it usually hovers around 60 and sometimes drops into the 50s. Even when I turn on FSR and put it on balanced, I get 80 FPS, which is decent, on the lowest settings. This shit looks like a fucking PS2 game. On consoles, it's not much better, it looks like a literal PS2 game and runs at 45 FPS. And by the way, it might not even be 45 FPS, it might be 20 FPS with frame gen, which is misery. And it's all that much more disappointing when you realize the gameplay itself is good. Yes, the core game of Monster Hunter Wilds is good. If this was optimized well, it would be a fantastic game. And I feel like if you give it 6 years' time when hardware far surpasses this game's recommended specs, then it's actually going to be a fun game to come back to. But that's the problem with a lot of modern games. You have to wait so long for them to actually be playable. Well, not playable, but more enjoyable. Because you enjoy a game more when it's smooth and responsive. You enjoy a game a lot more when you don't have to use performance DLSS to the point where it makes everything blurry as shit. Or you don't have to use frame generation to hit 60 FPS. Which, by the way, frame generation to hit 60 FPS makes the game less responsive than playing at 30 FPS. I swear the delay was that long, I could press a button, go take the biggest shit of a lifetime, and come back and my character still wouldn't have moved. I swear the wait time at a checkout on Black Friday is lower than the input delay at frame generation 60 FPS. I swear the delay between GTA 5 releasing and GTA 6 is lower than frame generation at 60 FPS, and that's been over a fucking decade. I swear the delay in a corporate bootlicker's brain is lower than frame gen 60 FPS, and that's saying something. I do not understand how performance is still an issue when it comes to gaming. Graphics plateaued like 7 years ago. And it's not like the game is all that much more complex than Monster Hunter Worlds, which runs great, by the way. Monster Hunter Worlds looks beautiful and runs beautiful. Just play that instead. And I know this video is gonna come off as old man yells at clouds, but the truth is I've been very disappointed with this industry, especially this year, and I want nothing more than this industry to thrive. I want games to run great and be fun, and I just want them to be enjoyable. And when I complain about this shit, it comes from a place of passion. All of these, like, Meat Riders, Shaft Riders, all these people who come in my comments and say, oh, stop complaining, man. You guys want this industry to stagnate and just stay the same. I want it to improve. But the reason why this industry is not improving is because we're up against these massive corporations that do not care about us and their Meat Riders. We're vastly outnumbered. It's 13,000 legends that subscribe to my channel versus how many million Meat Riders and Meat Eaters. I just realized I went from calling people fanboys to Meat Riders. Well, I guess you could say the millions of fanboys as well, because it's the same thing as a Meat Rider. I want to love this game, because on a gameplay level, it is great. Now, I completely understand that this is just a beta before you comment that. I get that. But This is the type of thing a beta is for, so people like me can give feedback so you guys know what to fix. And I say you guys have a great game with shit optimization. This gentleman by the name of Sandro here pointed out that this is one of the worst optimized games he's ever seen, and I agree with him. I've never seen anything this bad in terms of optimization. But you know what happens when he points out that the game is badly optimized? Meat Riders. That's what happens. I bet this guy loved the new Dragon Age game. No, just because this guy did not like the optimization in Monster Hunter Wilds does not mean he likes Dragon Age and its cringy Redditor writing. Average poverty response. What's that? You don't want to buy a GPU that's $1,500 alone? What are you, poverty-strucken? What are you, poor? You disgusting plebeian? You filthy peasant? How dare thy filthy peasant try to invade the prestigious and rich hobby of gaming? Dude, you're pathetic. This guy says, my guy, it's a beta to see how it runs. The answer is like shit. It's supposed to run like shit. Well, not really, because then people wouldn't be complaining about it. They see why it runs like shit on people's PC, they fix it for the release. And this guy completely shuts him down with Dragon's Dogma 2. This guy comes back, says, whole ass different game. Your point? Even if it's the same company, it's different teams working on it. He smacks him down once again with, they did it once, and we'll do it again. Guys, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I can come back to this video and say, wow, what was I thinking? This game was fixed up and runs great. But I don't think that's going to happen. If I get proven wrong, then I'm going to be so happy about that. You know why? Because I have a great game to enjoy in that case. These are the system requirements for the full game. It still says 1080p 60 with frame gen with a 2070 Super. That's not good. And I pointed this out before, and I brought up that I was worried about how the game would run on console. Forget the console, the PC port is literal like dog shit. One thing I'd like to note about Monster Hunter is I seen this last night, and I don't see anyone else talking about this. The game recommends a 4060 to get 60 FPS with frame generation. I don't know if anyone here has ever played a game at 60 FPS with frame generation, but there's actually more input lag at a game with 60 FPS with frame gen than at 30 FPS without frame gen. So yeah, this game is gonna run like an absolute piece of shit on consoles, you can already bet that, and unless you want to play at 30 FPS, you're probably gonna have to get the PS5 Pro. Now, I want to show you guys a post that I honestly thought was pretty sad. I upgraded my PC with all the money I had, a barely 3-year-old GPU card, RTX 2060, which by the way, it's more like a 5 to 6-year-old GPU, and this is what a Monster Hunter looked like the demo. Fuck you. This is fucking stupid. PC gaming is actually fucking dead if I'm expected to work many months of salary to be able to buy a new GPU every year. Now, he attaches a clip. Now, the enemy is bugged out. I don't know if that's the lowest graphic settings just being awful, or if it's his computer, or the game. But, I mean, look at the environment around him. It all looks awful. It looks like a PS2 game. A 2060 is a somewhat lower end GPU, but the guy should still be able to play at a decent frame rate with lowest settings, and the lowest settings not look like a PS2 game, especially considering this GPU can run Monster Hunter Worlds, and it looks great on higher settings. I used to think that companies would purposely make games unoptimized to force people to upgrade hardware, but now I think if you don't believe that, you have to be some sort of like brain-dead bot. And of course this guy was attacked by Meat Riders when he said this, but I mean, poor guy just couldn't get to enjoy a game, even on some lower settings, and it still looks somewhat decent with his older GPU. I get that it's just a beta, and I'm not saying the game itself is bad, but hey man, betas exist so that we can give feedback, and here is the feedback.